We see Pennywise as a clown, but that's just what it wants us to see. The theory goes deeper. Pennywise isn't from our universe. In Stephen King's multiverse, it is actually a creature called a glamour, an ancient entity that exists in a dimension called the macroverse. The deadlights we glimpse in the film, that's closer to its true form, pure incomprehensible energy that would drive anyone insane just by looking at it. The clown is just a mask it wears to interact with our reality. Some fans believe it might even be connected to the Crimson King from King's Dark Tower series, making Pennywise part of a much larger cosmic horror. Every form it takes, the leper, the painting lady, the flute woman, are all just projections, shadows of something so alien that our minds literally cannot process what it actually looks like. Now here's the theory that breaks hearts. What if Georgie never actually died in the sewer? The opening scene shows Pennywise dragging him down, but we never see a body. Some fans theorize that it kept Georgie alive in some form, using him as bait to lure Bill back. Every time Bill sees Georgie throughout the film, it might not be an illusion. It could be the real deal, transformed or trapped in its lair. The photo album scene where Georgie appears and bleeds, that could be it showing Bill that his brother is still suffering, still calling for help. This theory suggests Bill's guilt isn't just about losing Georgie. It's about abandoning him while he's still alive, trapped in the darkness between the Derry for decades. The 2019 sequel made this more explicit, but fans caught on way earlier. Richie is in love with Eddie. Richie's jokes and his fear responses center around Eddie in ways that go beyond just normal friendship. The theory suggests that growing up in the 1980s in a small town, Richie buried his feelings so deep that even he didn't fully understand them until adulthood. It knew this secret and used it against him. When Richie sees the Paul Bunyan statue come to life, it whispers something we can't hear. And fans believe it threatened to expose Richie's sexuality, his deepest fear in an era where being gay could destroy your life. The arcade scene where Richie freezes, it was showing him a future where everyone knew about his secret. This adds a devastating layer to Eddie's death. Richie loses the person he loved the most before he could ever tell him the truth. In Stephen King's novel, there's another cosmic entity as old as it, Maturin, the ancient turtle who created the universe by vomiting it up. The turtle is its natural enemy and acts as a protector. While the film barely mentions this, eagle-eyed fans spotted turtle imagery throughout. Lego turtles in Georgie's room, turtle references in the background, and Bill's stutter. Some believe Bill channels the turtle's power without even realizing it. The theory goes that the Losers Club can only defeat it because the turtle chose them as champions. Every time they stand together, they're tapping into cosmic forces older than time itself. The turtle may not appear on screen, but its presence guides them throughout every battle, giving them strength when they need it the most. Stanley's suicide in Chapter 2 seems like he couldn't face it again, but this theory suggests something even darker. Stanley knew the ritual would fail. As the most logical member of the group, he researched the ritual of Chud and discovered the truth. It had never worked before. Every precious attempt ended in death. And by killing himself, Stanley wasn't running away. He was completing the ritual. Some fans believe his death was necessary to give the others a fighting chance, that he calculated his sacrifice as the only variable that could change the outcome. The letter he leaves behind isn't a goodbye. It's an apology for not telling them sooner. Stanley saw the math and made the hardest choice, turning himself into the missing piece that would finally destroy it. His death wasn't cowardice. It was the bravest thing anyone in the group ever did. The ritual of Chud that the adult losers attempt isn't Native American at all. That's just what Mike tells them. This theory suggests Mike made it up, or at least heavily modified it, because he knew the group needed a concrete plan to face their fear. The real ritual, some fans would argue, isn't about burning tokens or speaking ancient words. It's about the losers truly confronting what it represents. Their childhood trauma, their fear of becoming their parents, their inability to move forward. The ritual only works when they stop performing steps and start genuinely facing the pain they've been running from for 27 years straight. Mike's manipulation isn't malicious. He understands that sometimes people need a structure, even a false one, to find the courage to do what's necessary. When Beverly looks into the deadlights, she sees the future, all of them, as adults, returning to fight it again. But this theory suggests she saw something much more than that and remembers it differently to protect herself. Some fans believe Beverly saw multiple timelines, multiple versions of their battle where different losers die. She saw Eddie's death, Stanley's suicide, and possibly even outcomes where she herself doesn't survive. Throughout Chapter 2, Beverly makes decisions that seem reckless, but actually might be her trying to steer events toward the one timeline where most of them make it out alive. Her vision wasn't a warning. It was a map, and she's been navigating them through the safest path without telling them how many horrible alternatives she witnessed. Every choice she makes is calculated to avoid worse outcomes than she's already seen. The red balloons appear everywhere it is about to strike. But this theory suggests they're not just calling cards, they're how it travels. The balloons exist in multiple places simultaneously, acting as anchors between its realm and ours. When a balloon appears, it's creating a thin spot in reality, a doorway it can use to cross over. Some fans believe it leaves balloons behind deliberately, making its territory and feeding off the fear they generate. The fact that only children seem to notice them isn't because adults don't see them. It's because adults have trained themselves to ignore impossible things. The balloons aren't a test. If you acknowledge them, if you let yourself believe in the impossible, you've opened yourself up to its influence. They're not warnings, they're invitations. Derry itself might be infected by its presence. The theory suggests that its influence seeps into the town, making adults complicit in the horrors that happen to children. It's not that they don't see, they choose not to see. The missing children posters, the violence, the way Bev's father and Henry's father act, all of it is amplified by its presence, making the worst parts of human nature acceptable. Derry's history is filled with tragedies, fires, and mass deaths that happen every 27 years. And the adults always find ways to explain them away. The theory goes even further. Maybe Derry was built on its feeding ground intentionally, a town designed to provide prey. The adults aren't innocent bystanders at all. They're unconsciously protecting their predator because, well, on some level, they know that if the children stop disappearing, it will come for them instead. Why does it return every 27 years exactly? The popular theory connects it to human memory and trauma cycles. 27 years is roughly one generation, long enough for a new group of children to be born who don't remember the last awakening, but short enough that some adults still carry over the scars. It feeds on fear, but stale fear loses its potency. By hibernating for 27 years, it lets Derry forget, lets new prey develop without the protection of knowing what's coming. Some fans believe it could wake up more often but chooses not to, savoring the anticipation and letting fear build up in the collective unconscious of the town. The cycle might also be tied to cosmic events in King's multiverse, with its feeding schedule aligned with periods when the barriers between dimensions grow thin, making it easier to manifest our reality and hunt with maximum efficiency. The blood oath the losers make in the Barrens might be more than just a childhood promise. It could be a literal magical binding. This theory suggests that when they cut their hands and swear to return if it comes back, they're performing an actual blood magic ritual without even realizing it. The oath creates an unbreakable connection between them, which explains why they all feel the pull to return to Derry exactly when Mike calls, even though they've forgotten everything. Some fans believe this is why it can't fully kill them when they're together. The blood pact creates a protective shield that it can't penetrate. It can also explain their amnesia. The oath sealed away their memories as protection, only releasing them when all seven were needed again. The bond literally makes them stronger together, turning childhood friendship into supernatural armor. When Stan breaks the oath through suicide, he doesn't weaken them. He redirects all his share of the protection to the remaining six, making his sacrifice the ultimate act of love.